right, everybody. Welcome back to the What Can Jesus Do podcast. Today I'm sitting down with a good person of mine.
Very special guest.
I guess you can say a very special guest. This is my big little sister.
Oh, please.
You know, I'm her role model. I'm the one. I'm the muscle in the family. I'm the one, keep her in line because it's very hard to. But today we're gonna sit down and talk to my sister about her career path and what she does and how she get down in the business that she pursues as a career. So if you don't mind me asking, introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Laurecia Simmons. A lot of people know me as Reese. And I mean,
You don't know what to say.
I mean, yeah.
She lost.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of my first questions to get everything started, because what career path did you actually choose when we're talking about your career?
Meaning like where I'm working now.
What
do I do now?
Yeah, what do you do now?
So I work as a safety specialist for a medical technology company.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically what I'm responsible for is ensuring that all associates are safe and
Not practicing bad habits.
Correct. And then also making sure that all of our machinery is safe to use. If someone gets hurt, then I have to go do investigations on that machinery to make sure that we don't need a guard or something on there to make sure that this injury doesn't happen again. Also working with we do risk assessments, which is even if somebody don't get hurt, I still have to assess all of the equipment or just kind of go around and do an assessment to make sure that even though nobody got hurt, that I can make sure that nobody is going to get hurt.
So kind of like preventative
maintenance. Yeah, that's exactly what I do. Yeah.
To make sure. So you're a safety specialist.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you decide to get into that field of study? Well, first of all, before we get to that, where did you start college? Because if I'm not mistaken, you didn't start in college going as a
No, I didn't. So my original career path what I wanted to do, I wanted to work in the healthcare field, and everybody from Ellis City know Dr. Tyler. Mm-hmm. And so one day I was at his office. I can't remember if I was doing a checkup or something. I can't remember. So I was he was what do you want to do? And I was well, I want to work in the healthcare field, but I can't do the goods and stuff.
Yeah.
And so he was well, what about physical therapy? And I was I didn't really know what that was at the time. So my original plan was to go to school for physical therapy. That's what I wanted to do. But I kind of got sidetracked because I was more focused on how long it was going to take for me to go
to be a physical therapist.
Yeah,
how long
to
did it take?
School. It took about maybe 8 years.
Oh no.
But I mean, you say that, but if you think about it, a lot of times, when people graduate from college, it takes them a decent amount of time
to actually
even
find a job.
Exactly. On top of that, you may have to go back to school for a master's or something like that. So that time when I could have been in, and it might not even take 8 years. I think I remember the last time I checked it was 8 years, but that was years ago, so I don't really know. But I mean, even though still it takes the same amount of time for you to finally get into your career or whatever, and I could still have been working while I was going to school, you know what I mean? But so I ended up going to Miles, and I was majoring in Miles College in Birmingham, and I majored in biology, and I ended up because my plan was to do that, and then I think I was looking at Tennessee State to go for their physical therapy program. Was it physical therapy? I can't remember if it was Tennessee State. I can't remember. But I was so focused on the amount of time that it took. I wish I had not, focused on that part. Now that, I kind of look back on it,
Time can go by regardless.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been realizing that lately. No matter what you do,
exactly.
the time is going to fly by.
So, I was thinking about that, and Miles College financial aid office was just terrible at the time. I don't know if they have changed, but I was just over the financial aid office, and I ended up transferring to UA, Alabama, University of Alabama. So when I went there, they had this athletic training program. And I know you probably remember, I don't know if you remember me doing that, but I was like, okay, well, physical therapy takes this amount of time, but athletic training.
Oh, no, I do remember.
Yeah,
I do remember.
Because I used to, go with the different teams and stuff.
Yeah, I got tired of
So, so like, even in that, like, I had to, I was going to, like, the classes. You had to take, like, all these classes, and it's basically almost, I ain't gonna say basically, but it's almost the same thing as physical therapy. It's different because a physical therapist is an actual doctor.
Yeah.
But athletic trainer is not. And so...
so is an athletic trainer not, like, more of a, like, this is not a doctor. It's a on-site, like, evaluator almost?
Yeah, I guess you could say that, like, medical evaluator, like, that would be your first point of contact, like...
Before you get to the doctor.
Exactly, like, in the event that you get, like an injury or something like that. And it could be something that is also preventative maintenance that they're doing on your body.
Yeah.
And so, and they work close with athletes and stuff like that, and so... I tried to get into that program, but I think you have to test to get into the program. And so I tested, and I was...
In the physical therapy program?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was automatic.
You have to test to be able to get in there. So I was like, you have, like, those... What I was doing was, like, prep courses that you have to take before you can get in.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, when I went into the test, I was 3 points shy of getting in.
Ooh, the devil bid.
I know, right? And I didn't get in, and that just tore me to pieces. And so I was like, if you don't get in, you have to retake those classes.
You gotta pay every time too?
Yeah, what you mean?
So what's the price to somebody that think they might want to do a physical therapy? So they kind of have it in their mind.
I have no clue. I'm not even gonna lie.
Oh, you don't remember at all?
I don't remember. Well, you remember I kind of quit physical therapy because I was thinking about the time. So physical therapy was like something that I was not.
It wasn't even an option.
Yeah, like when I went to Alabama, it wasn't an option.
Okay.
And but when I was doing the athletic training program, like once you take those classes, you have to retake them again in order to get back, like to test again.
Hold on. So you can't just retake the test. You gotta actually retake all of the classes.
It was certain classes that you had to retake, and not all of them, but even still, you had to wait a whole year before you could test again. And it would be smart to retake the classes because you would forget.
So yeah. So
you know what I mean?
You get the knowledge back.
Exactly.
Okay.
But even still, like,
that's money,
the test was that's money. That's a whole nother year. I have to wait to graduate.
A whole thing.
And I was just kind of like, okay, whatever. I'm not doing it no more. So when you're majoring in athletic training, the college, which is like, the program at the school, the college that it's in is inside the human environmental college, human environmental sciences college. And so I was just like looking like, what the heck can I do with this degree? Like, I ended up graduating with a degree in general studies within human environmental science. Like, it wasn't just general studies college, like, just a regular. It was inside human environmental sciences. And so within that, I took different classes like research, studies, nutrition, and I think with the general study, it kind of just gave you a different, like, a taste of each area that was within that school.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't know what I can do with this career. Like, I don't know what I can do with this degree. And I was just like, when I graduated, I was just searching. Like, what can I do with a human environmental science degree? Also, another thing, human environmental science degree is a program that, to my knowledge, is like a specific program that's at Alabama. Like, this isn't like a common degree. Like, this isn't like...
So this is kind of like something they only...
Kind of created.
Yeah. For the school.
Yeah, for the school. But they have like so many different things up under human environmental sciences. And so I was like, what can I do with this degree? And I ended up looking and I saw this thing called health and safety. I'm like, what is that? Like, I didn't know what it was. And so I kind of started like looking into it, and it was talking about like how you ensure that, you know, your associates are practicing healthy habits, safe habits, making sure that they're like doing things safely, and so like the preventative maintenance.
So what could be the go with that? What could be some like safe habit that you would be like teaching on a job to be get like not teaching promoting too on the job?
So I guess I could kind of go with some of the things that I'm doing like right now. So wearing your safety goggles. A lot of people don't wear their safety goggles, and so that's one of the safety things that I promote. Wearing your safety shoes, making sure that associates are wearing their safety shoes. Composites. Yeah. So making sure that they're wearing their safety shoes. Also promoting like when COVID was big, going and getting tested, making sure that wearing your mask, making sure that if you're feeling sick, do not come to work. Also promoting like if you get hurt on the job, let's say that you trip or you see like a spill on the floor and you slip on the spill, but you don't get hurt. Well, you need to report that, because just because you didn't get hurt don't mean that the person behind the person behind you won't get hurt. So those are like some of the things that I'm like promoting now at like my current job. And then like I throw like these little engagements that are kind of like to promote building a relationship with the leadership and the lower tier associates, because a lot of times I play like the middleman, between them.
So you basically like bring them together.
Exactly. Okay. So with these engagements, what I do is it allows for the associates to have conversations with the leaders, like our site leaders or different managers in the building that they might not report to this manager or this supervisor, but I'm encouraging them all to like talk and have conversation with each other so that we can be comfortable with each other. And so if something does happen or if they see something, then they'll feel comfortable reporting it to them. Exactly. Instead of just letting it go because they ain't gonna do nothing anyway.
Yeah, that is a miscommunication with the people, especially like on jobs that I've been at. You sometimes would rather not talk to the people that you see walking by that's up higher because you think that
they don't care nothing about like that. Like
for the money.
Exactly.
So that kind of brings everybody together.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. And so like I play like that middleman person who is like a coordinator who helps to build that relationship between the lower tiers and then the higher tiers and even those in between. Like sometimes those supervisors who are not managers don't feel comfortable talking to the site leader and stuff. You would be surprised because they, and then a lot of the lower tier associates think that the supervisor should feel comfortable talking to the site leader, but they don't. Like, it's just, that thing where you got to learn how to help build those relationships. And so I throw like little raffles. I throw like these little things where they should come by. Like the last one that I did before I left was what was it? It was November. Oh, it was a trivia. Mm-hmm. And the trivia was that you had to, it was about proper lifting. So
that's the proper technique to lift something.
Exactly. Yeah. So the trivia, you could do the trivia or you could go to one of the site leaders and they had like these little passes that you could win 2 prizes if your name is pulled. It was like a raffle trivia thing. So if you answer the trivia, your name get put in the bowl, but you could also go to the site leader or one of the managers, any of the managers, and talk to them and then demonstrate proper lifting, and then you could win 2 prizes instead of 1.
Yeah.
And so that was super. Like a lot of people like that. That was fun because it kind of encouraged them.
Interact too.
Exactly, and it made the lower level associates want to go talk to them because like if they pull my name, I can get 2 prizes instead of 1. And so the prizes that and another thing too, you have to know your associates. Yeah. Like I can't give out free like electronics and stuff at my site because I have like older associates. They don't care anything about like Bluetooth speakers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know who you're dealing with.
Exactly. So what I do is I do like laundry detergent and cleaning products and stuff like that, and that makes them want to participate.
Oh.
Yeah, so those are just kind of like some of the things. You have to get like super creative.
Yeah, keep everybody intrigued.
Yeah.
So you realized that you didn't want to do physical therapy anymore. Then you start learning about the
health and safety.
Health and safety.
Yeah.
So after you learned about health and safety, what route did you take then?
So after that, Alabama has and I was kind of just because I knew nothing about like this program. I knew like my next step was to go and get a master's, right? So one of the things, I am not a good standardized test taker. Like the ACT and crap like that, I am not good at that. And so I went and took the was it the ACT? No. What's the one you have to take to get into college? I mean to a master's program, do you know?
Me?
Yeah.
To get a master's?
I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember that test. But I was like, oh, the GRE. So I was like, I went into GRE one time and it was like terrible score. I can't even remember what it was, but it was not enough to like get me in no college without being like, I actually, so this is what I did. After that, I went and applied. Alabama had a graduate certification program.
Yeah.
And that's not a master's, but me, I didn't know that. Like I thought that it would be good enough for me to, you know. So I go and I do this whole little 2-year program. I get the certification, and I'm still not getting hired. Like I'm not getting hired, but I didn't have like any internships or anything. And internships are important, y'all.
Yeah.
Volunteer, do internships. They are important. They look good on your resume, and they help open so many doors for you. Also, you're networking like within your field, and so like.
It's not about what you know, like it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. That's been opening doors for me like crazy.
Exactly, right?
People that you know.
And so like I didn't have like any internship. I was applying for jobs and stuff. And so and nobody was hiring me. Like nobody would even like talk to me. Like it was like not even a question.
Yeah.
And so
they're looking at no experience.
Exactly. No experience. And the only experience that I had like when I was on campus, I was involved in like some clubs and stuff, but it wasn't really like catered to health and safety.
Yeah.
And so when I did this little graduate certification of health and safety management, and I couldn't get a job. So I'm working like for a hotel. You remember I was working for a hotel in Tuscaloosa. And I'm just working. I'm like, I'm just going to keep applying. And then I ended up applying for this master's program at Troy. It was the environmental science. And so one of the things that you can, within the health and safety, they have, it's called different things. It's called health and safety. It's called environmental health and safety, because within that, not only do you have to manage like the people and the safety aspects, but you have to manage like the environmental thing, like storm water.
Not letting stuff go into the drain.
Exactly. So stuff like that. Even going down and testing the water, like I have to do that kind of stuff too.
Make sure it's clean enough.
Exactly. And then you have to send it in to the government and like your reports and all kind of stuff. And so that's also another part of like that you can do. So I do that too. So I ended up going to a master program at Troy that was the environmental science.
Online?
Yeah, I did it online while I was in Tuscaloosa, and it was just and because I had such a low score on the GRE, I was on probation when I originally started, which I didn't care because I'm like, I can keep up. Like you had to keep like a 3.0 average in order to.
What is it? What's a 3.0 average? What's that equal like?
It's like a B average. Yeah. No, it's like a B average. No, it's like a B average.
That's why I got my trade. There's some stuff, just ain't for me.
And so like, I didn't like what I was learning was like environmental policies and stuff like, environmental policy would be like recycling and the emissions going out into the
stuff that's basically being released to the environment.
Yeah, so stuff like it was environmental policies. So that was
maybe like the say for I use an example, say for this is I got a diesel truck.
Exactly.
The amount of soot or whatever that's allowed back into the ground.
Exactly. Okay. So that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And like, you know, cutting down trees and stuff like that. I was like, you know what?
Down?
Yeah. So I was not interested in that. I was like, you know what? This ain't for me. I ended up I didn't finish that master's degree. So I just kind of stopped. But let me tell you something about God. To God be the glory. I had been applying for this internship in Boston, and so if y'all don't know, like, our dad stays in Boston, and so I had been applying for this internship for the Department of Environmental Protection with the health and safety manager, and I had been applying for like two years. She didn't pick me. Each year it was a summer internship. She never picked me. So mind you, I graduated in 2013. I applied that year, didn't get it. Applied 2014. No, I didn't apply 2013. I applied 2014, 2015. Both summers, didn't get it. 2016 came, and I applied, and I finally got the
3 years
internship.
later.
It took me 3 years, y'all.
So that's, you know, you gotta wait.
Exactly.
Sometimes
you gotta be patient, y'all, because it took me that long. Like, all this time, I'm working at a hotel. Like, I'm literally, like, not making no money, not working in my career field. Like, exactly. Yeah, you just have to be patient. But you also, like, within being patient, you gotta also make sure you're doing some work. Like,
in between.
Exactly. Like, I was so determined. I'm like, I am not about to have this degree and not be able to get no job.
Yeah.
And so another thing too was I also had to be open to, like, not just staying in Alabama, because I want to be in Alabama, but that's not where a lot of opportunities are. Like, Alabama, or even a lot of states in the South, you have to move out and come back.
So basically,
within certain degree fields. And mine, for example, I had to move out, and I plan on coming back soon. But right now, at that time, I was not, like, I couldn't be like, oh, I don't want to work here, I don't want to work there, I just want to work right here in Alabama or Georgia. Nobody was giving me a chance. Yeah. And so when I finally, because I was not just applying to her, I was applying everywhere.
Man, ain't nobody taking a chance.
Nobody was taking a chance on me. And so, like, this lady, she finally gave me like, literally didn't even, like, interview me or nothing. She just emailed me back and was like, you got the internship, and here it is, you need to be here at this time. And man, I was so happy. And then that's when we ended up driving up that summer, you remember?
Oh, so that's what that was?
Yeah, that's what that was. I had got an internship.
I thought we just growing up there just because. Oh no, I did know that.
Yeah,
I did know that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm tripping.
Yeah,
okay, I did know that. Yeah.
So
sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do too, because some people don't realize that. Because how many hours that is? So, because people don't know that sometimes you have to do what you don't want to do to get.
I don't
to
think
where
they
you want to go.
don't know. I don't know if they don't know that. I think, well, yeah, that's true. They might not know it. But I also feel like some people ain't really willing to do it.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
Go through
and
it.
You got to get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, you ain't going to never be able to grow or progress if you don't get uncomfortable and you still stuck in, like, your comfortability.
Yeah, comfort
like, you know
zone.
what I mean? Like, your comfort zone. Like, you're not going to grow in that comfort zone. Like, you're not going to be able to expand and become something that because you in this bubble, and if that was the case, then you would be that bubble.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and then when I moved up there, let me see, I moved up there, and then, you know.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I moved up there. I did that internship for the summer, but I was also working, like, downtown as well. No. I was working at this place that had, like, the offices on the inside. I was, like, the secretary.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was.
And so I was working there, but I was also, like, getting bored. So because I would go into the internship at, like, I would have to be there at 8.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, when I got off there, I would go to my other job, and I would go in there at 12. So my internship was, like, from 8 to 12, and my job was, like, from either 12:30 or 1 until maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And I would go home. But one of the issues was I used to have to ride the train, and it would be so packed. So I was like, I didn't even want to get on the train.
This summertime though?
Yeah.
Oh, so it wasn't cold yet.
No, it wasn't cold yet. And so, like, it was just like, I was just like, I didn't want to get on train. It was just so many people there. So I ended up getting another job.
Yeah.
And I was working at this little department store. And I would be getting off there maybe like 9, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I was like working, like I was out like 12 hours, like working the whole summer. And then when my internship ended, I didn't immediately get a job after that either. Yeah. And so that was tough because I'm just applying everywhere. Like
anybody
that would take me. And the first job that I got was this place in Vermont. It was a manufacturing company. I can't even remember. Vermont, the state. What you mean?
You didn't go there, did you?
No, I didn't. But I took that. I accepted the job, and I was gonna move. But one of my issues was, I was also like, I was helping out at home too.
Yeah.
And so I had no money to move to Vermont. And Vermont is expensive.
First of all, we don't know about
Dude, at that point, I did not care. I just needed that experience. And my plan was to only be there for maybe like a year, and then I was going to move. But I had no experience. Like, nobody was giving me a chance. And then finally, like, I ain't going to say finally, I applied for the job. I had told them I accepted it. And then it just was taking so much for me to, like, make this happen.
That's how you know it.
Exactly. I was like, you know what?
Yeah, it ain't meant to
I'm
be.
gonna have to
You gotta force it.
Exactly, because what's from God is gonna come easy, And so I was just like, you know what? I just ended up calling them back, telling them I can't take it, because I was having to like ask people for money and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep applying, because I think at that time, like, I was comfortable. Like, I ain't gonna say I ain't gonna say I was comfortable, but I guess the way that I was feeling with this position, and I was like, I'm gonna be in Vermont. I don't know nobody out there. I'm having to like put these puzzle pieces together, and then if I borrow money, I'm gonna have to pay that back. So technically, I ain't even gonna be working for myself. I'm gonna be working for
somebody else.
Exactly. So I'm just like, you know what? Not gonna take it. So months went by, and I was applying, and I have a friend, Brittany. Shout out to Brittany. Her mom worked for the county in Georgia, and so she was like, why don't you go and apply, like, look on there and see if there's some jobs on there. And she was like, you could put my mama as a reference or a recommendation or whatever, reference person. And her mom was a sheriff there. Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, I'll try. And this is for the state. Oh my gosh. So she told me to apply for the county, but I applied, and I think I was applying for like the police department or something, and it just didn't work out. But I ended up looking on Georgia State thing, and they had a position for environmental specialist 1 position. And so within that position, what I would be doing is like the health inspections, going to restaurants, doing inspections there, assisting with like the rabies program.
So basically, you were the person that when you work in a restaurant, we see you come in, we take our money.
Yeah, that's me. That was me. That was me. But I also like that. Yeah, that was me. But within that position, I didn't feel comfortable with people like feeling like that. So I had to work on exactly. And so I had to work on like, even that, and building relationships with people at these restaurants, at schools. Also the tattoo program, we were over like getting that established. Even when like the tattoo parlors, that
is safe.
So they would have, well, mind you, this wasn't like a health and safety position. This was an environmental specialist. But they did health and safety things. Like they did that stuff. And so even if you wanted to like start a new restaurant, like if you wanted to build a restaurant, you had to bring your blueprints to us, and we had to evaluate your blueprints to make sure that the sink is where it needs to be and it's not this far. Exactly. And you had to I was responsible for doing that. Even like pools. It was this one place that had a pool that they was trying to install, and I had to go over the blueprints for that, and it took me forever to do that one because.
Why you ain't call me? I got you on the blueprints.
Yeah. Anyway.
I got you on the blueprints.
So even with like installing sewer systems, like the septic tanks,
Yeah.
We was responsible for
going back into the environment.
Exactly, like going into the environment, but we was also responsible for making sure that it didn't come in contact with the water, and so making sure that it was this
separated.
Exactly. Okay, so making sure that it was this far away from the house, this deep in this type of soil, all kind of stuff, and so I did that a lot too. So a lot of people knew me for doing the health inspections on the restaurants, but I was also responsible for doing some septic system installations as well.
Yeah.
Or if you had to like get one replaced or something like that, we had to make sure that we go out and inspect that.
Yeah.
And so I was doing that too. So that was the position I applied for. So I applied for it was in Georgia. And I remember I had to come down for an interview because they wanted to interview me in person. I had to come down from Boston. And do you know I missed the flight? I missed the flight to get to the interview. And so I had a call with, at the time, the manager who was over over that department. And I called him. I'm just boo-hoo crying. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I missed my flight. I'm not going to be able to make it. And he was so cool. He was like, no, you're fine. He was like, it's okay. Let me try to see if I can come up with something when I go into the office the next day. So I called Daddy and I'm just boo-hoo crying. And Daddy books me a flight and send it to me. He was like, hey, here you go.
Gone.
Here you go. Get on the next flight. So I literally just sat in the airport for like 30 minutes maybe, and I took a different flight. So thank you, Daddy. So after that, I called the manager back and I was like, oh, my daddy bought me a flight or whatever. And, I went down to the interview. They loved me. And then they hired me. I want to say, I can't remember if it was like that day or if it was like the end of that week. I can't remember. But they ended up hiring me. Yeah. So I worked there. And I actually really loved that job. Like, I really, really liked the job, but the pay was trash. Yeah,
sometimes I like that.
The pay was trash. It was trash. And then I ended up having to stay with our cousin for a couple months until I was able to find me an apartment. And at that time too, I was in a relationship. I had just gotten into a relationship. He was staying in Boston, so sometimes I would fly up to visit him, which was me losing money from saving up. And man, I think I was getting paid $29,000. $29,000.
Well, we can't complain, but some people want that $29,000. But that ain't. But the goal was to get more in the future, which is
especially I got a whole.
Well, you're in Georgia though.